Welcome to our Kitchen Excellence Week interview with Karl Hodgson from Adande, here to discuss the latest in the world of commercial refrigeration. So, Karl, what are some of Adande's biggest business moves or changes that have been implemented so far this year?
Yeah, we've had an interesting year this year with the retail side on our air technology grab and go system that we launched. We've actually had to try and implement a new warehouse locally. So we've actually opened a 7,000 square foot warehouse to house the new product development of the air technology with parts and holding and storage of those products. So that's been a bit of a significant change. So we're currently in a site where it just wasn't big enough to hold and store new products. We've also implemented some MPI processes this year as well for the VCC, which is a product that's well known in the UK and in Europe, but it wasn't established in the US market. So we've just recently launched that in the US market and trying to get the clarifications and justifications on doing that forward with ETL and UL approvals takes 9 months. So it does take a fair bit of time to go get through the processes and do that. Even though you think to yourself, well, the product's already launched in another country, but the actual ramifications of having it launched somewhere else, you've got to jump through quite a few hoops to get that done and dusted. And then we've also had CB clarification in Australia to compel with. So we've been quite busy back at house, trying to organize ourselves and get things into order. But yeah, so far, so good. And we're now can see the end of the tunnel with those type of projects moving forward, and it's looking positive for us. So those are the big changes internally for us and externally that customers see.
That's great. And what would you say some of the leading trends you've noticed in the commercial refrigeration market are so far this year, and how are they impacting food service businesses?
So I think the biggest one for me is definitely more on the retail side. So as you enter a lot of the retail stores now, for instance, Asda's most probably the main one that's driving it, is you're seeing display cabinets with doors on. So you're getting that more and more wherever you go. You've got the door concept coming into place. That's purely for sustainability and getting their net zero down. They're tasked with that. They have to do something. It's a little bit frustrating from a Dandy side because we've got the air cell technology that allows you to obviously have the grab and go display chilled areas without any doors. But that's some of them, some of them are choosing that route. They choose that route because they work closely with a lot of other OEMs that drive that area and wanting to place doors on. But for me, that's definitely the biggest changer when it comes to refrigeration, more doors on it. And that allows them to obviously have a sustainable implementation in their stores, which is good for the environment overall, whether it's a Dandy or not. It's still good for the environment. So that's a positive.
And you mentioned sustainability and net zero there. Which products or services does Adande offer operators to help in this area and with kitchen efficiency and energy efficiency?
So a Dandy are fortunate because very in the forefront mind of a Dandy going back 20 years, we have IP on all our products. So if you've got an IP protection and it's painted as products, people can't copy, people can't catch up. You're ahead. So we've had that implemented for nearly 20 years now. So, as soon as we go to market, the first thought is, can we get IP on the product? Is it sustainable? Is it energy efficient? And also then obviously the customer. So having that protection there in the very forefront is we're always ahead of the game, but by a number of years, and it protects you. So, the others copy, the others try to catch up. So for me, being here at Dandy, that's the forefront of our mind. We won't bring a product out unless it's driving that area and driving that. And I think if you've got that in your back pocket always, you're always going to be number one in that area. So efficiency, sustainability, that's the forefront, and that's all our products are that way inclined.
And what would you say some of the most important factors for or operators should consider when it comes to training and education around the use of refrigerators?
So it's basic. It's basics really, because what you've got to look at is the basic things in cleaning. So cleaning aspects, clean your condenser. If you can clean your condenser regularly, it actually saves you 15% on energy. So, that's got to be regularly cleaned. Maintenance is the biggest thing. Seals, clean your seals regularly. temperature adjustments. So for instance, on your freezer, if you just adjust it by 2 to 3 degrees, you'll save 5% on energy as well. So those are the tips. Keep maintaining your refrigerators, keep the condensers clean, clean your seals, adjust the temperature 2 to 3 degrees on your freezer products, and that will obviously save you a lot more energy and efficiency in your kitchen.
That's great, thank you. And what impact is modern technology, data, and connectivity having on commercial kitchens and the operators that Adande works with?
So that's an interesting question, Joshua, because this it's a frustrating area for me, because I think having monitoring systems within the kitchen and technology wise is great, but there isn't an industry standard. I think the only one that tries to drive the industry standard for me is K-Tech. So they're trying to implement a system where data monitoring is all in one area, on one app for the chef or the operator, because what you've got is different manufacturers putting their technology in, but then the poor chef would have to operate 6, 7, 8, 9 different apps, and that isn't going to work for that particular operator. So working for someone like K-Tech, trying to drive that, trying to see that, I think it's important. But that to me is the number one area that I think will benefit the industry moving forward as a whole with all the catering equipment. We divulged that around about 10 years ago when Monica systems were quite new to the industry, 10 to 12 years ago, and they had data loggers, and we used to drop them in our fridge and freezers. But this new technology now is far more advanced now, and K-Tech do a great job with that, and we are working with them to try and establish a relationship moving forward. But they're trying to bring all the equipment together under one roof, under one app, and drive that. I also feel the larger operators with larger kitchens, it benefits more. So for instance, hotel and fine dining restaurants, that's the areas that would want that, because their kitchens are so much larger. They have 2 or 3 kitchens. They need to be kept up on that technology and what's happening, especially on the EHO side of things. If you're an operator or an exec chef, you need to be on top of it for all the monitoring and purposes and health purposes, etc.
What sort of feedback have you been hearing from end users of commercial refrigeration and your products about sort of the need for connectivity and increased use of connectivity in kitchens?
We do, some of our national chains are asking more and more questions about it, but once again, it's trying to find, that area where we can fit within their system, because everyone uses different systems. However, at Adande, if they wanted to use a specific connectivity, we would actually place that within our refrigerators at factory point. So we can do that. So for instance, if there's any data-led systems that we can interpretate into the Adande drawer system, we would do it. It's not a problem. Talk to us, work with us. But once again, it might be different to something else, another system that's they're currently using. And then trying to find one that fits all, that's the issue, that's the problem.
Thank you. And if you had to pick 1 or 2 of Adande's latest products or refrigeration ranges that can provide a multitude of benefits for operators, which would you recommend?
So for me, I think the underlining one that not many people still know or use as often what I think they do is obviously our blast chiller. So our drawer VCS range, you can have a fridge, freezer, and a blast chiller all in one. That allows the operator to flip from one to the other. EHO, like our operational of the blast chiller, it gives you 4 cycles from 90 minutes to 120-minute cycles, and it's great for small to medium restaurants. A lot of people that use it, we get very, very good feedback from it, and the price is amazing as well, which obviously helps the customer, which is a great benefit.
Thanks, Karl. And are there any other big trends or sort of changes you would expect within the industry that you think will have a big impact on operators over the next year or so?
I think once again, this sustainability and drive to net zero is having an impact. I am seeing more and more people now asking about Adande products in that way, which is great. We get less value engineered out of projects now, which tells you people are looking at the sustainability aspect and the energy. And all I would say to most operators is look at the cost, the full cost of operating, whether it's a fridge, a combi, whatever piece of equipment you've got, value it and value it in regards to, you know, the operating costs, the full life cycle costs of it, and go from there. That's the best bit of advice I can give, especially if you're going to be in business longevity. So that's for me is the key for me.